the new people of City.
Yeah.
This is for you, Mr. Hodder. All right, very good. I do not need the mic. Have a seat here. All right, I would like to first congratulate you guys on a job well done. You really sell the emotion and you just tear people fucking straight. I would like to open it straight up to the audience here. And when Adam's ready, we'll get him up here as well. But let's, directors get enough attention. Let's talk to the actors. Somebody asks a question, a good one, or I'll make up a lame one.
There's someone there. This question is for Danielle. I'm a huge admirer of you. I love your work. And but you get put through the ringer in every film that you're in. Like, how mentally and physically taxing is this on you? And do you really enjoy working within the horror genre?
I don't know why I do it, because I get put through there. And then I come here and do press and lose my voice, but I can do that for months and be totally fine. You know, it's just really fun. It's really fucked up, and it's really fun. I get to beat up guys like this. I mean, come on, when would that really happen? So, this is the first time that I haven't been a victim in a movie. So it was finally,
And it's the first time I have been a victim. Well, not really.
So it was really fun for me, and I thought, God, if this ending if I don't do a good job, the whole movie's like, for me, it's like I really had to kick his ass, and I kind of did. Sorry, Kane. And I get like almost nervous before the ending is gonna come because I'm so excited that I get to see it, and I just thought it looked great. And then we were filming. I remember being like, God, I'm a fucking lunatic. Like no one's ever seen me act like this. And I thought, yes, no one will ever fuck with me ever again. So no more victim roles for me, hopefully.
How does it feel to be surrounded by Jasons and Leatherfaces and, Candyman? You just look around like, I'm in a Universal monster movie. Dracula, vampire, werewolf, they're all right here next to me.
They're huge.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm 5 feet tall, so these guys are fucking monsters, literally. But I can still kick their ass, so.
Kane, how's it different to play a Jason than it is to play a Victor? How's it different for you?
Well, there's some similarities in the two characters. They kill everybody that they can reach. But Victor's a lot quicker, a lot more unpredictable, and in a way, a lot more fun. I always loved playing the Jason character, but this is, thanks. This is fun too, and it's been interesting until, we started showing the movie like here, and we had the world premiere out in London. And until then, I was always asked, is there going to be Hatchet 3? And it was always fun for me because I said, well, I can tell you one thing about Hatchet 2. There's only one survivor. So what does that tell you? Automatically people are thinking, well, it's me, but as you can see, it really wasn't. But it's just, it was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but it was, I think it paid off. 1 or 2 for me? Oh, definitely 2 was much harder to do because we shot a lot of it on a sound stage, which means much longer days. When you're shooting at night in the spring, like the first one was, the nights are short. You can only shoot while it's dark. So once the sun starts coming up, you're going to get out of the makeup.
How long was our shoot too? It was like 3 weeks?
Yeah, it
About
was,
that?
yeah, something like that. Maybe a little more, but yeah, long days, and the makeup was redesigned a little bit. I don't know if you could tell, but it had a lot more expression to it in the face and stuff, and so the application of it was much more difficult, and the removal by far took longer than the first one, so made for some real long days.
I was so happy to just do the voodoo shop where I just had to sit there and let everybody else talk, because every other day I was like, oh God, one more day of crying and yelling and screaming.
Did you like the first half better? Because the first half was mostly set up, and you get to sit there and be actors and discuss things.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is, I'm going to talk about them.
I think I like the second part better. Yeah, I like the second half better.
Mr. Salters, your question.
Yeah, for Kane, was that a real chainsaw? Like very handsome for like really big trees? Or is that one of
Yeah, that was a redwood chainsaw. A little over a 6-foot blade, and fucking heavy, 130-pound chainsaw. Very hard to look powerful with it, you know what I mean? It was hard to work with at all, but I saw a lot of people cringe when the testicles dropped.
I love that. That's the best. I love the ball stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we were doing an interview today, and one of the guys said, "Well, this movie seems to be real balls to the wall." I'm like, "Well, it's kind of balls to the ground." But...
Anybody else? Right there in the back left there.
Yeah, hi, Kane. You're used to working with a lot of makeup and masks, and you got to do a little bit of emotional stuff here. How was it for you, and did you like it? Would you like to do a little bit more of that?
Yeah, I love doing the character stuff outside of makeup too, and Adam is always great to me for giving me stuff to be able to show another side and, you know, do some emotional things, and it really has put my career in another direction because I get a lot more of those type of parts now because of the first Hatchet, so it's a whole aspect of my career that I really never expected when I started because I was, you know, came into this wanting to do stunts, and that's what I did exclusively for a long time, and just got lucky and had the right people behind me and have all these other aspects to it now. It's fantastic. I love doing it.
One question I'd like to ask the both of you is, because you both have a lot of experience with horror films. When you see something like this and you know it's coming out unrated, which is not common anymore, do you think, God, people take this shit a little too seriously? You know what I mean? Like, you watch this film and it's like horror fans will love it, but when you're going to give it NC-17, you're going to call it whatever you want to dismiss it as. It's like, why are you taking it so seriously?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the violence is so completely over the top and fun. I mean, it sounds crazy to say that, but you know, it's people were cheering and stuff. So
Speaking of cheering, here's Adam.
We're going to bid adieu to our leading lady and our leading man. They're going to go grace the other audience. And we're going to shoot the shit with Mr. Greene, who clearly has some anger issues.
This is awkward because I don't know what was already said. So if
I can tell you right now, Joe Lynch did not fart that microphone.
Oh, thank you. Was anybody there for that in 2000?
Who was here when Joe Lynch farted in the microphone at his very first Q&A? He just lifted leg.
All right, you're pulling a Limp Bizkit with that microphone, man. Like you're holding it like this, and you're like, ah!
He's allowed to do this to me. All right, does anybody want to know? Filmmaker, film critic? You want to put me on the spot and see what I thought of it?
Oh shit! I'm not gonna get enough of this.
I think it's your weakest film, and it still kicks ass. Honestly.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Thank you. That's a
Honestly. I do. I think it's his weakest film, and I still like the shit out of it.
Thank you.
As my friend, I can be honest. But I love the kills. Now, when you're sitting down with your buddies and you're like, let's all do this, you make a list. I gotta have balls drop. Gotta have giant chainsaw. Gotta have two bodies at once.
Kind of. I mean, sort of when you're putting this stuff together, I mean, you have to look at it as a fan, which is what all of us are who work on these things. And you just sort of think of what you haven't seen before and try to keep pushing it, especially with the rule that we don't use any CGI in these movies. And there were plenty of times when people, thank you. When people would say, you know, it would be easier if we used just a little bit here, if we just did a little bit. And I was very adamant to sort of fight against that because to me, if you're going to work in this genre, you have to respect the people that came before you. And I have the world of respect for everybody who stood on these sets and did these types of things before me, and like the people like Savini and Beekler, I mean, the list goes on and on, Rick Baker, who did such artistry with what they did, and now it's been replaced by somebody behind a fucking computer. And I'm not saying that doesn't have its place, but not in a low-budget slasher movie. Every time, like some of these remakes, and all of a sudden, like the villain is CG, it's weird. So you come up with these deaths, and like the chainsaw one was actually one of the hardest ones because that chainsaw weighs 135 pounds. It's from the redwood forest, and even someone like Kane can't hold that thing up by himself. So there was a cable on the other side with two dudes like hanging on it to try to keep that thing straight, and then you have two actors who are cabled to the ceiling, and they're being lifted up at the same time, and then cut in half with all the different pieces and stuff. But that's part of the fun of doing this.
And when we were kids, man, we would see gore scenes, and a lot of times you could see the seams, but not always. And you'd be like, how the fuck did they do that? And nowadays, kind of that mystique is kind of gone, because anybody could just be like, did it with computers, bye. You know, like, a lot of the mystery is kind of gone, I think.
Yep. One thing I got to talk about there in the other theater when we got started was This movie was planned before we ever shot the first one, so there was